my character is an extremely, I felt like that got louder as I progressed. There was not much preparation. I mean, or as I probably think, maybe you guys think of it differently. I mean, I physically trained for this role. If you guys have seen the movie or if you haven't, everybody's nodding their heads, okay. I didn't mean to be condescending. But basically, when you watch the movie, I have a lot of running. And running takes a toll. I needed to just prepare emotionally so I could run uphill and then make sure that I wouldn't be out of breath before I got to the top of the hill. First time round, I was like, so, I kept practicing. I was training every day. And so I trained physically for the role. And how is it to perform with something there? You just do it. Yeah. You just get there and you just do it. You imagine like something's there and you go, and then there you go. And it came out pretty good. So there we go.
Great, next question, Steven.
I love Godzilla. I've loved Godzilla since I was a kid, watching it on the Sci-Fi Channel. With my dad, my brother, my uncle, playing the video games, the action figures, using them to destroy my Legos. And when I did my first film, Straight Outta Compton, I listed my 5 heroes that weren't my father, and Godzilla was on that top 5 list. So I've been waiting for this my entire life, and I just happened to just be lucky enough to get this audition and knock it out. Now you guys talk.
Killed it. No, I'll be honest, I was definitely not a fan of Godzilla, which is a good thing because my character isn't. My character is just a teenage girl who's just learning more, like she's learning about Godzilla and the Titans as she goes along. She doesn't really know how she feels about him. But I don't know, I think that her love and affection toward him grows into the movie, and then also in Godzilla vs. King Kong. So.
Are you in that?
Yes.
You are?
I am.
Okay, I didn't know if they could do it.
No, they unfortunately, they were like, okay, well, if you want to be in the movie, I was like, oh, yeah, of course, it was amazing.
Yeah, we didn't get that call. I thought we did pretty good in this one. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, he's one of these big iconic monsters that's had a bunch of different reinventions. He's evolved over time. I think with each new, I want to say reboot, or each new vision of the monster, you can kind of hone who he is as a creature. I mean, this Godzilla King of the Monsters, you see much more personality from him, and he becomes less and less of this sort of like unknowable, destructive creature that just comes, steps on buildings, and then leaves. But he still gets to be called Godzilla, and so you get this long saga with him.
And over the time of Godzilla, there's been different people in charge of pushing the story along, and through each new Godzilla, you can see the style change and things like that. They're given the creative freedom with such an iconic monster. He is the godfather of giant monsters. There's so many references to Godzilla in little things that might not say it's Godzilla, but Godzilla when you see it. When you see the spikes, the size of him. In Rugrats, he's Reptar. That's Godzilla. Like, that's just what it is. It's Godzilla. So, there's...
If Rugrats can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, everybody, so Godzilla should stood the test of time. He allows, whoever's in charge of him during that time to, be creative and change up his style, change up the way he looks, change up a story about him, and it still progresses. They don't give 30 movies to just anything.
Okay.
Great.
Millie?
Oh, yeah. What they say.
Strong. It was
And the
awesome.
other guys. Did you like it?
Yeah, but I mean, you guys are such fans, especially O'Shea.
Especially O'Shea.
He's so special.
It
was alright.
I mean, I loved it. I had to wait since 2017 for this movie to come out, so you're just hoping and wishing. And I just love that I got the biggest and baddest Godzilla there is. You have to
Me.
see it in theaters.
Me.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
man,
I
of
know.
course.
May 31st. See my
May
plug. I'm
31st.
so good. Get your advance tickets now. You know, I would say, you know, I was nervous about what the movie product was going to be because I do that with everything. I just go into everything really negative. So, you know, it's kind of like guilty until proven innocent.
That's what's up.
It's like, it's gonna be bad, it's gonna be bad. Oh my god, it's really good. It's that with me.
Under promise.
And I don't like to be let down. So I went in there with the mindset like, it's gonna be fine. But you know, maybe it's really just like, I trust everyone else but myself. So I'm like, oh god. And there are many things I'd like to change about my performance just because I'm just like that. But I don't know why I'm looking at you specifically. I don't know. I'm like, well,
Okay.
you have the nicest t-shirt. I like your t-shirt. But no, so I think that, I don't know, I really like the movie. I think the CGI, the monsters, and everybody's acting, I think there's so much human emotion that I really enjoyed in the movie that's never been seen before. What about you, Thomas?
I think Godzilla looks great in this film. He's like a stocky heavyweight MMA fighter who I guess can explode into a thermonuclear nuke. Yeah, he's much more expressive. He's got all these human emotions, and he's great. He's becoming this massive superhero in his own right.
Great, yeah.
Yo, honestly, I've been going the nice route and saying Mothra. I know, guys, but I gotta. After last night, I gotta steal your. Rodan had the best entrance in the movie.
Rodan is the
Oh
best.
my god!
I
Disgusting.
honestly think that's so incorrect.
Whoa!
You're so wrong. Like, don't you think that? But don't you think that like Mothra behind?
Because you got to touch. Because you.
Yeah, don't be jealous.
You're
Don't be jealous that your parents were scientists.
You're
Just
so
saying.
shady.
You know.
So shady.
No, I feel like I think that Rodan had a pretty cool edge. You know, it's like what was it? Dallas
Oh.
Isla de. We're not gonna
Shay
try it.
called
We're
it
not gonna try
Mexico.
it.
It's a spoiler,
It
so
was
we
in
can't
Mexico.
tell.
Yeah, it's a spoiler. We don't wanna. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, Mothra, just because she's the only girl and she's such a hero. Like she's such a hero.
So clutch.
She'll just be like, "What up, guys? Who needs me?" Like, she's like,
He's my man.
"Go get my nails done."
Yeah.
She's
She's
great.
got a couple of
I love her.
big old nails.
Oh yeah, but she's so gorgeous.
She's a pretty lady.
I know. She's a pretty lady. All right. Well, let's move
Great
on.
input.
You know, I don't know. That's what my team deals with. I get brought information that they're like, okay, well, we think this is, best or something, and then I usually make my sister read the script. I trust my sister's instinct. She'll tell me, okay, you know what, you're gonna love it. And then I'll read it, and if I love it and I want to do it, then I'll do it. But if I read it and I'm like, you know what, this is just not gonna be for me, it's all different genres. I get offered comedies, thrillers, horror, but it doesn't matter about the genre for me. It's if I feel like I'm a connection with the character, then I'll do it. But most of my stuff lately have been things that I've actually found. It's like a book series. I'm actually filming Enola Holmes with Legendary this summer, and so it's Sherlock Holmes' little sister.
Oh.
It's a book series about who she is and her journey, and so I actually found that, and we are making it now, and as a producer on it, I don't know how, but but it's like I really want to be part of the creative process, and I think it's so important to have youth and to inspire young people to understand that there's no boundary, no age to what you can accomplish.
Dope ass answer, Millie. Yeah, I've been playing Godzilla my whole life. I've been like, it's just, I had to, once you are finished nerding out and you realize, just what you're doing, it's the biggest set I've ever been on. And they give you enough practical effects to work with. Most of the time when you're dealing with the Titans on screen, it's just about eye line. Where am I terrified the most? And it's just, from there it's running and a lot of physical labor. We had the Arctic scene, we're really in Georgia, and it's real hot, and the snow is Epsom salt and soap.
I saw that in the movie though. Did you see? I think somebody fell and then flipped up the Epsom salt, and I was like, oh my god.
That was snow.
It made
It's movie magic.
I
It's
can't
movie
stand
magic.
it.
And you know, it's just a lot. The hurricane that Ghidorah brings, I had to deal with every day on set. You know, getting doused in water and a 100-mile-per-hour fan, and you know, at the hardest days on set, I just remember that it's because I'm in Godzilla. You know, that'll do a lot for the psyche.
Yeah.
I'm in
Can
Godzilla.
Thomas,
Yeah.
can Thomas answer you too?
Oh, sure. I mean, as O'Shea was saying, there's like, Michael Dougherty had a lot of practical effects when needed, when possible. He had speakers playing like the sound effects of the roars and growls and grunts, I guess, of all the monsters. I had a lot of time on the Argo, the big mothership, so I was bouncing around in fake turbulence like Star Trek most of the days. Just like, oh, there you go.
Shake.
Yeah, the assistant director would give us commands, like he would just be like, and there's Godzilla, and boom, and then you just go,
Because he was, by the way, like, I'm British, but he was like, and boom!
Yeah.
And shake!
His name's Cliff. He's awesome.
Cliff
great.
Lanning.
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Well, you know, Mike, when I talk to Mike on the FaceTime, and we
On the FaceTime.
on the
Sounds like such an
FaceTime,
old person.
we
On the FaceTime.
we were speaking about Godzilla, and once I realized he was a fan of Godzilla, how much he cared about Godzilla, I realized that they gave one of us the keys to the car. You know, and it's a lot of times, I'm not gonna say a lot of times, but a few selected times, they hand a franchise or something that has such loyal fans over to somebody who's wasn't a fan of the subject. You know, they don't necessarily know how to speak to us. And Mike from the jump, I knew that we'd be in good hands. And he just has to get what he wanted. Sometimes that took a lot of hours out of Shay, but we got what we needed, and that's what's important.
I think it took a lot of hours out of all of us.
I just can't speak for you.
No, I know.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
I'm not trying to, step on toes.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
my
Gotcha.
friend's field tried on, so.
And Thomas, what it was like working with Mike?
He's this guy with a vision. You know, he had everything so specifically dialed in, you know, and you knew that wherever you were going, he knew where you were going way before you ever did. So yeah, the whole time you're like, I trust in what you're putting together, because there's a lot of pieces in that. And when you see how much special effects, how much like pre-viz, like how much planning that needed to go into it, you're like, oh, okay, this guy's been living and breathing with it for years before we even showed up.
And he's a horror movie director, so he's crazy.
He's a little crazy, but I do think that, you know, one of the things that I loved is he stayed true to the story, and I think that it's important, especially in such a legacy, you don't want to just go AWOL with a story that, like, people absolutely love and cherish and wait for. I think that, you know, before these guys were on board, and before I was on board, I went with a meeting with him, and I think he had said, Vera Farmiga's attached to the project, and then for Vera, he was like, Millie, we're attached to the project. None of us had been attached to the project, bear in mind. That's what you do.
Hustler right
I
there.
said, Vera Farmiga, I love her. But, you know, so I think, but one of the things I loved is that from the very beginning, he knew what was going to happen. He didn't change a thing about it either. Like, our scripts never really changed drastically. Whereas like some things I've been on where it's like, okay, full storyline tons, like, and it's never that with him. He knew what every monster was gonna look like. He had everything planned, all the artwork, and immediately I was like, wow, like if he knows what he's doing, if there's no questioning of what he's doing, I want to see this guy try and kill it, and he killed it. So there you go.
I want to make my own anime. I really want to do that. I feel that there's not really. I feel like there's a lot of people in the culture that are fans of anime, but people really don't have that many animes directed towards us. We have Boondocks, Black Dynamite, Afro Samurai, and that's really it. You know, so I really want to do something cool with that. And I want to be the guy that gets video game movies right. I feel like video game movies are used as a cash grab, and they have loyal fans, and a loyal fan base that's untouched, and I'm going to knock that out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty great.
Great question.
You know, Vera Farmiga is an incredibly talented woman. And she has 2 amazing kids, and she's an incredible mother to her kids. So she has this instinct, this maternal instinct, that comes extremely natural to her. So to play her daughter was a breeze. I mean, you're working alongside a seasoned, phenomenal actress that, you know, I could never really fill the footsteps. I was just watching her like, hi, you my friend. She was, I mean, you know, awesome. And the scenes came out, you know, it was just believable. You could tell we were a family unit, and that was one of our, you know, our things that we wanted to make sure that happened on screen, and it did.
With big conflict, though.
Big conflict, yeah. I can't elaborate. I know you think. I've been here before. Thank you. You know, Stranger Things is season 3 is coming out on July 4th, and we're so excited for everyone to see it. We worked really hard on it. And you know, this movie came out. We filmed this 2 years ago, and then
I know.
right after we were filming season 3. I mean, season 3 is you know, it's bigger, it's better, and stranger. Have a good one.
How long will it go?
How long will it go? I don't know. That's not. I'm not the creator. Ask Duffer Brothers. I have a long time.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Go Lakers. Go Lakers.